we go? I just can't win. I just can't win. If it cuts out one more time, I'm gonna call the stream. Maybe. No, this isn't a duel to see who falls apart. This is a duel to make true love succeed. I don't understand what you two are saying. No, you must understand. This marks the birth of a human who can truly love another. How? Why? I don't understand. They keep saying, what? That's a door. I know that's a door. Why is that door there? But it's a door. Why? It's a door. Why? How? Explain. It's a door. That doesn't help. That doesn't say anything. Yeah. Let's continue, see if we find out. No matter which wins, please support them. Why? Right now, their days as furniture will end. Why? The signal is simple. I will count to 3. When I reach 3, the duel will commence. Morning, man. Not quite the best, but it is a morning. Understood. Same here. If both miss, the duel will be temporarily suspended. You will be given bullets again, and we'll start over from the beginning, with your backs to each other. I guess it'll repeat until it's all settled. Separ, have you seen this sort of duel many times in the past? Of course. I've seen many of them. Usually, how many times do they need to face off before it's over? In almost all cases, it's decided in the first round. They must all be really good shots. That's not it. If one side misses, the other can corner them at their leisure and shoot. If the first bullet misses, then you've lost your chance at victory. However, if you take too long, you'll lose before you can even pull the trigger. If you're going to lose anyway, you'd at least want to have pulled the trigger first. Your resolve is good, you two. Then, let's go. I bet they both miss. I'm just staring at my internet connection. It's iffy. 1. 2. 3. In the Golden Rose Garden, when the number 3 was yelled, the sound of gunfire rang out once. Even the people watching couldn't tell whether that was a single gun firing, or the sound of both going off at the same time. In the midst of the stench of gunpowder and white smoke, there, with his gun raised and smoke trailing the barrel, was Cannon, and lying on the earth was Shannon. Like I keep saying, I am not the betting man. Do not listen to my bets. Shannon! Son. No. Shannon fell before the gun fired. Jessica's distressed expression was enough to explain what had happened. Slowly, Shannon stood up. There was no bullet wound anywhere on her body. At the time of the signal, Shannon had thrown herself to the ground, dodging the bullet. It had been a bet. If Cannon had turned around and taken the time to aim carefully before shooting, then he would have shot her as she lay there. However, if Cannon shot as soon as he turned around, she would be able to dodge it. Cannon had also made a bet. He did not underestimate Shannon's skill with a firearm. He was fully aware that if he assumed Shannon would be timid enough to let him shoot first, he would lose before even pulling the trigger. So, he had decided to shoot right away, and he had predicted that when he shot, Shannon would reflexively pull the trigger too. Since he had intended to shoot right away, he would be more mentally prepared, so he was confident that he'd be able to shoot accurately. If Cannon had cautiously turned around, and Shannon had shot instantly with the strength of her will, then Cannon wouldn't even have been able to pull the trigger. So, no impatience on Cannon's part was to blame here. The two had simply given it their all, left their fates to the heavens, and reached this result. I didn't imagine that my quick-tempered Nase wouldn't shoot at all. I'm surprised too. To think that old prudent Kaneko would shoot as soon as he turned. As Shannon quietly pointed the barrel at him, she slowly walked forward. She planned on cautiously closing the gap until she reached a distance from which she could shoot him with even more certain accuracy. And Cannon had already lost any means of fighting back. He could only try to dodge Shannon's bullet and place his bet on the second round. If they both thought this, then what happened next would turn that assumption on its head. This isn't over yet. Cannon dashed forward like a tornado, bent over so low that he was almost crawling over his shadow. This duel could only be settled by a bullet, but he wasn't the only one who had a bullet. If he could steal Shannon's gun away from her, he could turn this fight around. And if Shannon calmly shot through Cannon, it would end. The odds that Shannon would miss, or that he could get close enough to her before she fired, Cannon would bet all the chips he had on them. Shannon could draw Cannon in until the last second, then shoot him from a closer distance. If she pulled the trigger just before he reached her, then even if she missed, they would just start again from the beginning. Shannon kept her gun pointing at Cannon's forehead as she compared these options until the final moment. She led her shot, calculating the distance he had already moved and the time it would take to pull the trigger. The goddess of fortune smiles impartially. Surviving past the final moment Shannon could have shot, Cannon barreled into her chest. He then swung his hand up and knocked the gun Shannon held into the air. That strike sent Shannon's gun flying into the sky. At the same time, Cannon's gun also flew from his hand and danced through the air. The two guns danced a rondo through the sky, reached their peak, and began to fall. By that time, neither knew whose gun was which. The two guns were exactly the same. Everything about them was identical. There was no way to tell them apart. However, there was one difference. Only one of them had a bullet inside. The pair raised their hands to the sky, trying to grasp their fate, their miracle. It was as though they were trying to grasp the wings of a descending angel of miracles. The pair looked up at the brilliant sky and entrusted everything to the goddess of fortune. Then, they each grabbed one of the guns out of the air, and after dancing a momentary rondo, their arms crossed each other. Even that had been like a dance. Then they each pressed the barrel of their gun up against the other's forehead, both as steady as a rock. Even they could not know which gun held the bullet. When they both pressed the triggers, one would die, and one would remain alive. The match would end. George and Jessica wouldn't know the result until that moment came. However, was it really impossible for the two holding the guns to know? There we go, it came back. The muzzle of Cannon's gun, which had already been fired, must have been warm, and the muzzle of the other gun, which Shannon hadn't fired, should have been ice cold. So perhaps the pair of them did realize which gun was which. And yet, both expressions were solemn. the faces of those who would believe in their fate unswervingly until the moment the trigger was pulled. Don't be sad. We'll meet again soon, in the Golden Land. We should have done this much sooner. If only we had. Our reunion could have been avoided entirely. It's alright, considering what day this is. Even this duel is just a farce. You're right. We're just going to revive in the Golden Land anyway. It really is just a farce. Then I'll see you later. Yeah, you too. So long. Canon-kun! Hey, what's going on? Hang in there! Suddenly, Canon fell to the floor as if he had an attack of anemia. It had happened without any warning beforehand, so everyone rushed up to him in alarm. What they saw surprised them. There was a single strand of blood across his forehead, making it look like it though it cracked open. How? What happened? What's going on? Trying to get a look at the wound, Goda wiped Cannon's forehead with a handkerchief. However, his forehead was perfectly smooth, without any trace of a wound. And yet, blood was pouring out almost as though it was seeping through his skin. What are you doing? Stop the bleeding already! But... even though there's no wound, the blood won't stop coming. Hey there, Canon-kun! Canon-kun! Yoshida-kun! Cannon's forehead was pale, and though his eyes were open, they had lost the light of the living. Just like a puppet whose strings had been cut, he had passed away. Yoshida-kun! Yoshida-kun! So long, Canon-kun. And thank you. Jessica dashed up to Cannon's corpse, held it, pressed her forehead against his, and as the still hot blood was smeared over her forehead as well, she sobbed. Shannon. George-san. We've won. Now, I finally have the right to love you. Finally. Shannon leaned against George's chest as though the strings holding her up had been cut. George held her in silence. Yoshida-kun! Yoshida-kun! There was nothing in the golden rose garden except the wind that carried golden flower petals, and the sound of Jessica's grieving sobs. Is your trial for us finished now? It is. Congratulations. You two were the ones who remained. We will give you our blessing, but please, don't forget, you are now responsible for nurturing your love. Please take good care of the seed of love that this miracle has created. Of course, I swear to her, and you too. And now, let Shannon have the miracle of magic. Now, your soul will become human. You will become a single person. Gather, incomplete souls, become one and know love. When Zapar and Furfur faced the heavens and yelled, the miracle of love, gathered the souls around Shannon. They came from the losers of the trial, from Cannon, who had been defeated, and from Beato, who had dropped out. Slowly, the bodies of the two began to break down into flecks of gold dust. What is... What's going on here? No one ever said that the losers would disappear. As she yelled, Beato the Elder supported the body of her fading little sister. However, the two demons were smiling quietly. Ken had disappeared because he died. Beato was born to love Battler and is disappearing because she has lost the qualifications to do that. It is quite fair. If you had survived, the other two would have vanished. Hang in there, little sister. Hang in there. Weren't you going to solve Battler's close route and save him? What are you doing getting finished off in a place like this? You call yourself a part of our complete form? Why was I born? For the purpose of loving Battler's son? Why do I love Battler so? The truth is, I don't know why I started to love him. What? Why are you saying this now? After all, when I was born, I was told to love Battler-san and be loved by him. That was my purpose. So, I don't really know why I love him. People don't need a reason to love each other. Don't disappear. If you disappear, who will save Battler? Little sister Beato. Beatrice! Why is it that I love Battler-san? Was it? Well, I'm actually not a big fan of the family-oriented type of girl. You see how crude I am, right? I just can't handle acting politely in front of girls, ladies first and all that stuff. So, if I had to say what type I liked, well, I'd probably like a Jessica-ish girl. If I'm crude, why shouldn't she be too? It'd probably be just perfect to have a rough, relaxed relationship, where we could mess around without worrying about gender and be rude with no worries. So, if I ever get a girlfriend, I hope it's someone I can joke around with all the time. Huh? What would she look like? Can't say I care much either way. Well, if you did happen to be a glamorous woman, blonde and bouncy blue eyes like in Western films, that'd be awesome. I'd like to rub those boobs. Beatrice, listen. I'm giving you my love for Ushumiya Battler. Become the kind of woman Battler wants. Take the golden hair he likes. Take the blue eyes he likes. Take this personality that matches his. And then, you must love him in my place. And then, if possible, you must be loved by him. I can no longer love him. Please, take my feelings that went unfulfilled, my feelings that I couldn't hold back, and make my wish come true. From this day forward, you are no longer the Rokujima ghost that lives only to play pranks. From this day forward, you will become the master of this island, and wait for the day that he comes to fulfill his promise. From this day forward, you will do this in my place. So, from this day forward, you will no longer be me. Please forgive me for pushing all of my worries onto you, while I alone try to find happiness. From this day forward, you have the right to hate everything From this day forward, you are the Golden Witch, Beatrice. And one day, you will destroy everything, revive everything. You will bring blessings to all lovers. When that happens, I pray that you and I will both succeed in finding happiness. From this day forward, you will no longer be me. From this day forward, I will no longer be you. The two of us will split apart a single soul and share it. And though, of course, neither of us will possess a complete soul, I'm sure our dreams will be more numerous than those of humans. Let us be blessed, my dear Beatrice. No one will be able to see your form. However, I alone can see you. And if you are loved by many people, I'm sure that everyone will be able to see you someday. With love, they will be able to see us. Yoshia-kun. Are we dreaming? Insane. What kind of joke is this? Well, get Dr. Nanjo. Call Dr. Nanjo here. Goda. That is enough. Genji, who had been calm and silent through the whole thing, finally spoke. And his were the most reasonable words spoken. If they called Nanjo here, then what? Not only was there no arm to take the pulse of, there wasn't even a forehead to feel the heat of. Like leftover snow on a spring day, Cannon's form had been, by now, not even a trace remained. His form had sparkled with a spray of gold, vanishing completely. Where? Where did he go? Where's Yoshia-kun? Yoshia-kun! Yoshia-kun! So long, my lady. No. Jessica. Cannon-san. By now, no one's eyes can see us. That means that we're no longer in their world. However, we are right here. You're right. We are here. For us, a body is nothing more than a cage made of flesh. There's no need to be sad. But I do feel sad for her. For Jessica-san. This is all my sin. This is why furniture isn't supposed to love. What will you do now? Though I have lost my form, though I can no longer talk to her, and even though if Jessica ever talks to me, I can do nothing except nod behind her back. I will be by her side. I think that's wonderful. What will you do? I want to save Battler-san from a closed room. A closed room? After looking a bit taken aback, Cannon laughed gently. Beato, who hadn't expected to be laughed at, looked a little sour. Why are you laughing? This is very important to me. But it's a closed room. That's something for humans with bodies to worry about, right? Huh? We've already been released from our cage of flesh. How could a closed room hinder us? Are you sure about that? I mean, there's a chain lock, and packing tape seals, and red truth.
そうか。
I see.
君は駒の世界じゃなくて、
So, you
そ
aren't
れ
a
より
being
上
from
の
the
世
world
界
of
の存
pieces,
在だったね。
but a higher level world.
だから僕たちとは違う
That
制
means
約
your
があるら
limitations
し
are
い。
different from ours. Or so I hear.
やれやれ。
Ah, well. Cannon stretched. It looked as though he was about to head out somewhere. Cannon-san,
敗者同士の仲さ。
seeing as you're a fellow loser,
いいよ。
okay,
僕が行ってきてあげ
I'll
る。
go for you.
僕がお屋敷の
I'll
客
go
室
to
へ
the
行っ
guest
て、
room in the mansion,
バトラ様を
let
外に
Battler-sama
出し、
out,
入れ替わりでチェーンを
set
か
the
けて、
chain behind me, and
代わ
hide
り
in
に
the
クロー
closet
ゼ
in
ッ
his
トに
place.
それでいいかい。
Is that enough?
気持ちは
I'm
嬉しい
glad
です。
for the sentiment.
でも
However,
カノンさん
even
は
if we wanted
い
to
と
leave
こ
the
部屋か
cousin
ら
room,
出たくても
because of
エ
Arasaka-san's
リカさんの
seals,
封印のせいで
unlike the next room over, the cousin room containing Cannon was a guaranteed complete closed room, even counting the windows. Not only did he have no way to save Battler, he couldn't even escape himself.
なら、君の魔法で僕
In
に
that case,
力を
use your
与え
magic
て。
to give me power.
私の
My
魔
magic?
法で
Yeah,
僕に
use your magic on me.
魔法をかけて。
そんな
Wait,
私
I don't even know
魔
how.
法の使い方なんて
君は
Aren't you
黄金
Beatrice,
の魔女、
the
ベ
Golden
アトリ
Witch?
ーチェじゃないのかい。
私は
I am a witch,
魔
but
女ですけれど
um,
魔法どころ
I
か
don't even know about closed room
密室
tricks,
トリックもわからな
much
い
less magic.
ただの
やれやれ。いいかい、ベアトリーチェ。
Listen up,
一度
Beatrice.
しか教えないよ。
I'll only tell you this once.
魔女ってのはね、
This is what a witch is.
魔女ってのは
What a witch is?
魔女ってのは
A witch is
謎を解かされる
not
側
the
じゃ
one
ない。
who solves puzzles.
謎を
Not the one
解かされ
who
る側
solves
じゃ
puzzles?
ああ、そうさ。
Yeah, that's right.
どうして魔女が
If you're a witch,
誰かの謎
why
で
are you
頭を
clutching
抱
at
えて
your
る
head
んだい。
because of someone else's puzzles?
頭を抱えるの
That's
は
not a witch's job,
魔女の
right?
仕事じゃないだろ
Then
じゃあ
what is a
魔女
witch's
の
job?
仕事は
う。僕の知ってる
The
黄金
golden
の魔女
witch I know
ベアとびっきりの魔
would
女
have used insane magic to create a puzzle that no one could understand, confusing everyone and sneering,
誰にもわからない
create a
最悪の
horrible
嘘
riddle that no one can get,
徹底
spin
的に
everyone
教
around
育
and
して
badmouth them.
相手に出された
You weren't
謎で
supposed to
頭を
clutch
抱
at
え
your head
る
worrying about your opponent's puzzles.
君じゃない。
That's your opponent's job.
君の相手の仕
悩むのは
Worrying is
私
my
の
opponent's
相手
job?
の仕
後ろ宮バトラーをど
Don't
うや
worry
って
about
密室
how
から
Urshimiya
出すか
Battler got out of
悩
the
むんじゃ
closed
ない。
room.
チェーンロックの
A
密室
chain locked closed room?
バカバカしいね。
How trivial.
なら君は
You need to create a much more spectacular, ultimate closed
あいつ
room
らを悩ませてや
and
ろう
make
じゃ
it
ない
so that they're the ones worrying.
僕も手を貸すよ。
I'll even lend a hand.
悩むのは
I'm not the one who worries.
あいつらの
That's for them to do.
地獄の悪
It's about
を
time
ひ
they
れ伏して
learned the
ゼ
true
ウス
terror of the Golden Witch Beatrice.
最悪の密室
The one who
ト
can
リックを
create
無限に
endless
使い
closed
こな
room
す
tricks of the most
無
horrific
限そろ
kind.
そろ連中も
Tricks
思い
that
出し
can
て
make even the demons of hell prostrate themselves in shock.
バトラさんの
A
密室
closed
より
room? Even more horrific than Battler-san's?
僕ら
We've already gotten our hands
そ
on
れを
one,
手に入れてるじゃない
haven't
か
we?
最
Horrific
悪
closed room?
に
Huh? In the back of Beato's mind, images she remembered began to flit by one after another. The mansion, the guest house, the rose garden. Trick, mistake, lure, taunt, trap, laugh together. Do you know about this trick? I think I've seen something like it in a book before. Beato's eyes opened wider and wider. Countless lights circled around her, swallowing her up.
あともう一個
And one more thing.
何です
What?
それ
That's no way for the witch of closed rooms to talk.
ふさわしくないな
Sorry about that. That's no way for the witch of closed rooms to talk.
やっぱり私は
So, after all, I must be
わらわれなくっちゃ
me. Why Why did Kennen say me? The marriage ceremony ended without any problems, and the reception was held inside the cathedral. As the goat demons partied raucously, Dilliner could be seen leaning against a pillar, trying to escape from the noise. Then, Gertrude appeared and whispered some kind of report to her.
それは本当ですか?
Is that true?
緊急
Allow me to speak.
現在コーネリ
Aide
ア
Cornelia
補
is
佐官
currently
の
heading
現場保
towards the
全員
scene.
エリカ教にも
I
中
suggest
心
that Lady
すべき
Erica be
かと存じ
contacted
上
as
げて
well.
まする。
わかりました。
Understood.
ご中心
I
申し
will
上げ
tell
ます
her.
ガートルードは
Gertrude,
式典警備
contact
長
the
と
head
連
of the
絡
ceremony
で
security.
準戦闘
Prepare for battle.
御意
As you wish.
ご歓談中
I apologize for interrupting your chat. I am in charge of security for the ceremony. Would this be a good spot to stop before a battle ensues, or go through with the battle? You know, knowing how this game goes, probably gonna be a drawn-out battle. So I'm gonna stop at a decent point. In a moment, I think I can find a better one. I apologize for interrupting your chat. I am in charge of security for the ceremony. Huh?
私
Is it me?
何
Do you want
なん
something?
かよ
だからはしゃ
I
ぎす
told
ぎ
you
だって
you
言
were
った
going
の
too far.
さすがにシャンパン
Champagne Tower bowling was always a bad idea.
少し油を
Looks like
絞
it's
られ
time
て
for a
きます
scolding. Hey, Barn!
もう
Hey,
何よ
what's going on?
私なん
Did I
か
do
さ
something wrong?
受付に
The reception desk has received an envelope from an unknown sender addressed to Lady Lambda Delta.
届けられました
私
I always ignore anonymous calls and letters.
そんなの捨てちゃって
Just throw it away.
それが
But
これな
please
の
look
で
at
す
this.
何それ
What's that?
これ
Did you
届いた
tell
から
anyone
誰
you
かに
received
言っ
this?
いえ
No,
受付の
only
姉
the two
妹
sisters at the reception desk
私
and
は
I
す
know.
でに観光令
They have
を
already
伝え
been
まし
ordered to keep silent. The instant she saw that Lambda Delta snatched it away and lowered her voice. Bernkessel had walked away and was apparently making fun of Erica. Bern, and of course Erica, were both drunk. If they were left alone, they'd probably forget about this. It's true that this envelope had no sender written on it. However, the seal done on it in gold leaf fulfills the same purpose. This seal is... Lambda Delta hid behind a pillar, ripped the envelope open, took out its contents, and read them. Her eyes instantly started to glint, and she smiled like a kid who's just thought of a nasty trick.
いかがしますか
What is to be done?
狙撃犯
The sniper team is carrying
赤色弾頭
red
の抵抗
warheads.
許可をいただ
If
け
you
れ
give your
ば
permission, I will give the
操
order
船
to
命令を
load
出し
them.
ます
何言ってんのよ
What are you talking about?
今日はどんだ
Do
け
you
豪
realize
華
how
な
important
ライ
these
ブが来てる
guests
ぞ
are?
万一参
The
列
stray
者に
bullet
流れ
hits one of
弾
these
が当たったら
attendants.
シエスタ
All
こ
the
の
new
時代の
Jester sisters will be
私
sent
た
straight
ち
from
は
the factory to the guillotine for the next 10 years.
工場
了解
Understood.
通常弾頭
We
を
will
対応す
intercept
るで
with
ある
regular warheads.
煉獄の七
Shall we
神
post watches around the seven sisters of purgatory?
いるわけない
Why
でしょ
would we need those?
だって七
After
組
all,
は
the seven stakes are battlers.
そして今
Like
や
now,
エリコ
Erica's
をかけて
furniture.
どうして味方
I
に
will be
監視を
post
つけちゃ
watches
うの
around our allies.
とにかく警備を
Just make sure security is nice and tight.
ちゃちゃっと厳重に
先ほど
Just now, we received a recommendation from Assistant Inquisitor Gertrude suggesting that we make preparations for battle.
理由は不明で
Her
あります
reasons are unknown.
ガートルードが
From Gertrude?
じゃあ韓国に
Then
従って
follow
くだ
that
さい
recommendation.
パーティーは賑
A
やかな
party's
方
more
が
fun
いい
once you liven things up.
了解であります
Understood.
WO よりシエスタ
Understood.
17
00, calling Chester 17, Chester 38, Chester 45, Code R. Be on your
警
guard.
戒レベル2で
Transmitting level 2 alert.
17コピー
17, copy.
38
38,
コピー
copy.
45
45, understood.
そこでコ
Would
ピ
have been
ー
so
と
much
いえ
cooler
ば
if
か
you
っ
said
こいい
copy
の
too.
に
I just got nervous.
そうそう45
Right.
ちょっとこっち来てね
45, come over here a second.
なん
What
です
is it?
ちょ
Hey, we're on the job. Stop. Don't play with my ears. Your
おっ
ears.
とく
You better fold them down, yeah?
なんですって
What did you say?
冗談で
You're
しょ
kidding, right?
ありえない
That's impossible.
現在
Cornelia is heading there now. The odds of Beatrice attacking here are extremely high. I recommend suspending the reception and evacuating.
どうしたのエリカ
What's going on, Erica?
何か余興に
Something
手
go wrong
違い
with the
でも
entertainment?
いいえ
No,
若
my
葉
master.
主
Please continue to
どう
enjoy
ぞ
the
引き続き
reception.
披露宴を
Hey,
誰か
somebody,
メルンカステ
let's
ル
get Lady
卿に
Burngastle
梅
some
干
more
しワイ
dried
ンのお
plum
かわ
wine.
りを
Erica didn't have time to hide her agitation. When Castle saw this, she knew that their final late guest had finally arrived.
ルシネ
Lucina,
ゲストハウス
I hear there's been some movement in the guest house.
ゲストハウス
The guest house?
ゲーム版のこと
Who
なん
cares
か
about the
今
game board
くだら
now?
ない話だわそれが
Well,
密室のいとこ部
they're
屋か
saying
な
that Kennington disappeared from the cousin room.
はあ
What?
あんたわか
Are
ん
you
ない
a moron?
いとこ部屋は
The
扉が
cousin room is a perfect closed room with a door and all the windows perfectly sealed. It's impossible for him to escape.
いや
No,
私
I've
も
been
裏を
snooping
取
about
って
as
間違
well.
いない
There's no mistake.
カノンはいとこ部屋よ
Cannon
り
has
姿を
disappeared
消し
from
て
the cousin room.
いとこ部屋のどこ
He's
かに隠れてい
probably
るとか
hiding somewhere in the cousin
あ
room.
るいは最
Or
初
else
から
he's
う
managed
ま
to
く
trick
ご
everyone
まか
since
して
the beginning.
もともと部
He
屋に
was
入
never
っ
in
て
that
なか
room
っ
to
たの
begin
か
with.
不可能だ
That's
わ
impossible.
いとこ部屋に
It's
は
been a guarantee that everyone is in the cousin room except the specific names Lady Erica read aloud back then.
ごまかして逃れ
It's
ることは
impossible for him to trick his way out of there.
どうやってユングフラ
How
ウの
did he
封
get
印
past
結
the
果
Jungfrau seal barrier?
いや
No,
それより
first off,
カノンは一
why
体
on
ど
earth
こ
is Cannon?
至急探しなさい
Find him at once. At that moment, the cathedral suddenly went black. I think that's where I'm going to leave you guys for today. We'll pick this up tomorrow, and I think the end is finally near for episode 6. Wrong button. There we are. Go with Cannon. He's missing. He's not dead. He's missing. He's always missing. Just, I don't quite get it. Cannon has always been the oddball in the series. I think in game 4? Maybe 5, one of those. At the end when like everybody, yeah, that was 4. Everybody dies, but Cannon was never found. He was like in the well, but Battler couldn't get there. He was the one who attacked Beatrice in like the first or the second game. And he was the only one who saw her. He's just always been an oddity. I don't know why or how. And he's still furniture, which is still yet to be explained in any way, shape, or form, other than that they are subhuman, which everybody understands. And okay, why? Biggest pet peeve. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, I'll take off for now and work on some more technical things on my side. This internet was a temporary bit. We've got a loaner piece of equipment to try some things that might work out in the long run. We'll see later. We'll see if we can get to it later. Anyway, take care, guys. Have fun. Apparently, don't stop thinking. That's what people keep telling me. Take care, everyone. See you later.